HR tech, work tech, and investment are transforming the future of work. Are you in the know? Welcome to the Work Tech Podcast. Join host George Larocque for expert insights on the trends, M&A activity, and strategies shaping the workplace. Brought to you by OneWorkTech.com and the Work Defined Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Work Tech. It's George Larocque here, and we've got more industry news and more industry news involving JobGet. JobGet has announced the acquisition of Seasoned, right on the heels of their acquisition of Snagajob. And CEO Tony Liu is here on WorkTech to discuss the acquisition, what it means for JobGet, what it means for Seasoned, what it means for the market. Tony, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, George. And good to be back. And,
it's good to see you again. Yeah, but before we dig in on the deal itself, share a little bit about yourself and JobGet in case there's anyone that isn't aware.
Sure. So, I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of JobGet. For JobGet, the way you can think about us is right now we are the go-to, number one platform for employers who are looking for hourly workers or everyday workers, right? So folks who are in the restaurant, retail, logistics, healthcare, government, any of those type roles, we're kind of the go-to solution for most of these employers. And from a job seeker perspective, you can almost think of us as the job app dedicated for the TikTok generation. Right, so we have personalized searches, For You pages, things like that. That makes it very engaging and helpful for our seekers. And due to this kind of great market fit, we've been able to go on this growth spurt in the last couple of years. During our journey, also acquired a couple of folks like Snagajob and continue on our momentum to really solidify our leadership in this space.
Yeah. So it's a great strategy. I'm fascinated about this deal. Tell us about what's happening in the market that put Seasoned in the we're always talking about build by partner, put them in the buy column. What is it that's happening in the market or happening at JobGet that made that clear to you?
Yeah, so I would say right now the market has been described by some as this kangaroo market, right? It's up and down.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and that adds a lot of uncertainty into the market. And what that means is there's also a bit of headwinds for some of the players, that are a bit smaller in size that does not have the reach as some of the larger players do. So the reason why we looked into this is because this is a perfect opportunity to find companies with an amazing product, amazing team, amazing traction, but just need a little bit extra resources to really help them get to that next level. And we identified Seasoned as such player and happy to kind of dive into as well. But that's kind of what we're seeing in the market.
Okay, all right, that's clear. After the Snagajob acquisition, that headline, I mean, there's a lot to it, I'm sure, but if I were to simplify, it was about expanding the candidate pool, right? Bringing, they had been at it for a long time. They had a very large talent pool to add to your already existing large talent pool at JobGet. And while I'm sure Seasoned brings candidates as well, going through the material that I was sent, the release, there's a strong quality message there. And can you expand on that? How that plays into their offering and now JobGet's offering?
Yeah, definitely. And I would say that from a quality perspective, let me take a step back because I will say that the reason we looked at Seasoned specifically, and alluded earlier, was this trifecta of having a great technology, having a great candidate base, and having great relationship with employers. And in terms of, and this all kind of weaves into that quality piece. And what I mean by this is, from a technology perspective, they've built a really kind of a leading technology in terms of recruitment automation, right? Where employers can have a seamless experience using the Season app, where they, say, hey, I need to hire a cashier, a cook, and Season goes out there, set up instant interviews with them, with their AI technology, brings in the candidate to the employer, and the employer just got to show up and interview the clients, for the candidates for the most part, right? So it's a seamless experience. Coupled with that, they have a really strong kind of match and filter system that really brings out and draws out the best quality candidates through that. So from a technology perspective, they really ensure that quality piece. But this kind of bridges over to the second piece of candidate pool, right? So Season has been built dedicated for the restaurant industry. So they have a couple million job seekers that's restaurant workers through and through, as lifers. And that is something that's naturally transitions to a high quality candidate pool.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's very fascinating. And the last thing I'll just briefly touch upon, employers, is that they, we've done, during this acquisition, we've done 10, 20 customer interviews, and actually all of them kind of rated Season 10 out of 10, or some even went to 20 out of 10 in terms of what they think about Season's technology and their candidate pool. So that gave us further confidence to realize this partnership.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm as I was telling you before we jumped on, I'm not close to Seasoned, but I've never heard anything but good things about the experience on both sides. So now you mentioned the technology, and I think one of the key differentiators that JobGet has, especially given all the trends right now, consumer trends, user behavior trends, is that your app forward. I think it's worth it because this is, I think, a real point of differentiation for JobGet. Can you talk about what that app, how that improves the experience for candidates, and what that does for JobGet and ultimately your employer customers as well? Yeah,
I think that's a very good point. So, that's our whole thesis, right? Is build this app first job platform, first of a kind, that focuses really on this space as well. And I think for us, first and foremost, in terms of just a demographic perspective, right? When we look at who are the employers hiring in today's era, really is fixated on this millennial and Gen Z portion of the users. And if you look at those job seekers, they are all gravitating towards the app, right? So if you really want to find the candidates you're looking for, you got to go to the right channels to find them. So first and foremost, that lays the foundation of why we took this app first approach and why it's been really helpful for us. And obviously everyone has an app nowadays, right? All the, not going to name names, but literally every other job platform should and do have apps. But the difference is that we are app first. So we built our technology based on an app first, and then every feature, and I'll go into kind of the different features and offerings, but everything really disseminates from that. Whereas other platforms, they started with a website maybe 20 years ago, and they kind of just copy pasted that website into a mobile app, and the experience is just not the same, right? And you'll I would akin that to kind of the early days of like Robinhood versus like a clunky brokerage site in terms of stock trading and things like that. So that's kind of the first thing, is we're app first, and we're shifting towards the demographic. But I think that the other thing is, because we're app first, we're able to.
What does it really take to lead with impact in today's ever-evolving world? Welcome to Inside the C-Suite, the podcast where influence, energy, innovation, and empathy converge. Hi, I'm Christy Honeycutt, your host. Join me as I sit down with the boldest voices in leadership, visionaries who are not just making decisions, but making a difference. In every episode, we explore the heart of leadership. How do high-performing leaders harness their energy? How do they lead with empathy without losing their edge? How do they turn disruption into innovation and pressure into purpose? You'll hear unfiltered stories of adversity, resilience, and the raw moments that shaped true influence. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence, passion, and the energetic exchange that fuels transformation. Inside the C-Suite is your invitation to lead from a deeper place, with intention, connection, and courage. If you're ready to go beyond the surface and unlock what really moves leaders to action, Hit subscribe and step inside. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Inside the C-Suite, well, we're an energetic exchange. Let's lead with influence, live with energy, and create with empathy.
Create very catered approaches. So similar to TikTok, like I mentioned, we have this For You page for JobGet, where because it's something they hold on their phone versus something that they go to a website once every 3 months, we have very specific offerings catered to them real time so that they can react to it, they can get to those job postings, they can connect with the employers instantly. And that technology and feature is very pertinent to a more mobile first strategy here.
Yep.
And I would say those two probably encapsulate kind of this app first centric approach that we've taken.
Yeah, I think it's a great segue back to the quality conversation. And what's great is it's all intertwined, as you said. So that means it's there's a great alignment here. But the trust that you're able to build with a quality experience, along with the kind of profile and personalization you're able to build for your users, is key. We're in this environment where, let's face it, even the most successful of marketplaces are not known for their ability to deliver high quality matches when it comes to jobs. And this is whether we're talking frontline or knowledge work and anything in between. And by having that in the app experience, your everything from geolocation to again, that trust factor, it's the walled garden, the shift to walled gardens, right? I want to be in an environment where I trust the information that's given to me. It's a job, it's not a scam, it's a fit. That all builds on that quality, snowballs that quality. So it's a big part of my thesis about where the market's going. So that's why, and JobGet's not a customer, so this is by no means an ad. I think it's smart. I think it's very smart.
I'm smiling because I love it. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head, and I would love to bring you to our next investor presentation because you portrayed it much better than I did. 100%.
No. It's I think there's so much about that the market's just there's a lot of incremental thinking out there about candidate experience, user behavior, consumer behavior in our space, I think that sort of where we came from with marketplaces would lead folks to think that in that incremental way that an app isn't really offering the kind of experience that they need, but actually it's the exact opposite based on everything I'm seeing where there is an app at play, a modern app, to your point earlier. All right, that all being said, so we've got your app and we've got the seasoned app. How do they coexist, or is it a plan for integration, or how do we bring that all together moving forward?
Yeah. So on that, again, this is one of those 1 + 1 = 3, 4, 5 scenarios, and I would say the way we describe it is immediately. There's the short term and the long term. The short term is we are cross-pollinating all our job seekers to different platforms, so that the employers would have even more options to choose in terms of how many their best quality candidates, and we would bring those best quality candidates forward, right, to the employers on both sides, right? So for example, if there's a strong fit for a seasoned employer, for example, one of the things that a lot of the seasoned employers are looking for is general managers, right? And seasoned typically was focused more on kind of the cook and the cashier and the front of house, or the host or servers aspects. Whereas on Snagajob and JobGet, we have a lot of great GM candidates, right? So by cross-pollinating, we're able to bring a lot of those candidates onto the season platform and make them available to more opportunities, right? So I think that's the short-term immediate impacts. So all the employers will reap benefits of that by just getting, even more qualified candidates, which would be fantastic. In the medium term, we are looking to integrate some of the back-end technology, right? So for example, what I mentioned about recruitment automation, their AI matching and screening, in weaving that into, and our team right now is quite busy in terms of, as you can imagine, integrating all three platforms, but they've done a great job, and we conquered kind of all the drags that are in the way, and we've been able to amass all our technology together to really build this cohesive system, and that's obviously going to continue in the coming months. But on the back end, we are rolling towards this unified platform. We take the best out of everything, and then really combine this awesome back end infrastructure. On the front end, we likely will, at least in the medium term, keep them the same for now, right? We don't want to mess with kind of the algorithms and all the interfaces just yet, but we think the bulk of the value on the back end will be manifested in forms of better quality jobs, better quality candidates, better matches, and all those good stuff that we're bringing to the scene.
Yep. So does that, thinking about hiring automation that you talked about that Seasoned is doing today, scheduling, screening, that it sounds like that might make its way over into the rest of the JobGet customer portfolio.
Yes, exactly. I think we'll be able to bring that offering to JobGet and Snagajob employers as well in the long term, and that's something that the industry does love, and we're making that offering available to all of them.
Yeah. So one of the great advantages for your platform, and when I say platform, let's say all three as they combine, is that being able to tie that interview data and hire data back to the candidate, because in this market, whether any of the industries that you talked about, there's a lot of churn. There are a lot of folks who might have more than one job. So the insights that you will gain and that your customers will gain and benefit from understanding, not exposing PII when it's too early, but understanding, here's a candidate who is interested in these types of opportunities or demonstrated, these types of skills or success. That's something that's been a little bit of the holy grail in the industry, because that hiring automation has always been in the ATS or out in the another system, and it's not as easy to connect those data points as we'd like.
I don't know if someone shared kind of the deeper thesis with you earlier, but you've actually just hit on a very, very important point that I forgot to mention earlier, is that you're exactly right. Like, the Seasoned team has done a tremendous job in terms of getting the disposition data and actually coaching the employers on that end. What I mean by this is, a lot of the employers, they actually aren't, by working with other job platforms, they weren't actually sure, hey, how much am I getting? I know how much I'm getting per click, per applicant. How much am I getting per hire, per interview? They don't have that data, right? So the Seasoned team has done a fantastic job working with different ATSs, working with the employers, actually coming up with very robust data analytics for the employers where they weren't privy to that earlier. And now they're like, wow, I'm completely in tune with what am I doing, what my costs are in terms of interviews, in terms of hires. In some cases, we're hoping to get to retention later on as well, but I think even for that, it's been game changing for a lot of the employers, and they really appreciate Seasoned, a job platform, to proactively, bring them along that journey. So I think that's something that we were extremely impressed by, and that's what through our interactions with their customers, is something that we love to see as well. So I think that additional insights just helps everybody. It's a win-win situation all around.
Right, and that's that they bring a ATS integrations, at that level into the JobGet platforms now as you move this forward. So that's a great add as well.
Definitely.
So it's a lot of work. It's easier, but not easy.
Yes.
As time has gone on. So what would your if you think about the JobGet customers, and writ large, like you've got an ever expanding customer base now as you make these strategic moves. What should they be most excited about?
Yeah, I think they should be excited about two main things. One is that they'll see, three things. One is they'll see just overall improvement in terms of further improvement. I think right now we're already pride ourselves on getting high quality candidates, but they'll see even further improvements on that by kind of the additional data analytics and the screening and matching process that Season brings as well. Kind of bring the best of best technologies together. So that's one. Second is they'll be able to get access to, especially on the restaurant side and some retail side, just millions of additional candidates that are just lifers in these industries, that are high quality, that are eager to find great jobs, that are highly motivated individuals. So that'll be a great fit. And lastly, I think they will be very excited about the additional workflow automation that we can already bring them, because Season has made it plug and play. So we will likely introduce to some of our customers in terms of if they want additional help with workflow automation. We got that now, and they can just plug and play where if they have a need for a job, all they need to do is we can even weave in that into our existing offerings with them, and they will be able to basically have candidates show up, pre-vetted, pre-qualified, all done through our AA agents, and it'll be a great experience there moving forward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a lot to get excited about. Now, I asked you this last time. I probably know the answer to this, but looking at your strategy, is M&A, does it continue to be a big part of your strategy moving forward, given what you said about the market?
Yeah. Yes, and yes. Right. I think it's very interesting. I think this has worked out even better than we had ever hoped and imagined. In terms of the synergies that we need to realize on every aspect. So we definitely want to keep this as a main priority moving forward. And success begets success, in the sense that we actually, ever since the announcement of Snagajob, and just in normal course of time, we've received a lot of great conversations with other folks as well in the industry. Folks who, as I mentioned to earlier in the call, who, in today's tumultuous times, getting additional resources, getting additional backing, joining forces could elevate their technology, their team, their platform to an even larger level, right? So we're having a lot of very productive conversations with other players, and potentially a chat with you in the near future. Probably not as quick as this, but I think there's a lot of conversations in the pipeline that we're pretty excited about.
Yeah, well, I certainly appreciate that. So what's the best way for folks to learn more? I will link, by the way, to the Snagajob interview and the article on that, so folks can get the full context. But where can they go to learn more directly about what you're doing with the products?
Yeah, sounds good. They can go to our website, JobGet.com. We have different resources for different type of employers. Ranging from enterprise, agency, SMBs, the whole gauntlet. And for partners who are interested in joining forces in the future as well, or anything in general, or other employers that just want to talk about the industry, they can also just reach out to me. Find my LinkedIn, or my email is tony.liu@jobget.com, and I'm always happy to have a conversation. Perfect.
Well, Tony, thank you for coming back to WorkTech to tell the story about this deal. Congratulations again. I know it's a busy time, so I really appreciate it. Yeah. I hope you'll come back with any big news that you have, deal or otherwise.
For sure. It's always been a pleasure, George. Appreciate you.
All right. And thanks to everyone wherever you're watching or listening. And until next time.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the WorkTech podcast. Visit us at oneworktech.com and find out why WorkTech is considered the most trusted source of market intelligence and strategic advice for WorkTech. Subscribe to the WorkTech YouTube channel for video episodes and exclusive content. And be sure to check out the entire Work Defined podcast network at WRKDefined.com for more podcasts on the world of work.